Join me as I dive into the streets to test out some real-life warfare tactics and see if I can outsmart my opponents. Guerrilla warfare, a term that's often thrown around, but what does it really mean? At its core, it's about using innovative strategies to outmaneuver a more conventional enemy. This approach levels the playing field, allowing a smaller, less equipped force to challenge a much larger and powerful opponent. The beauty of guerrilla warfare lies in its adaptability. It can be used in various contexts, from urban jungles to rural landscapes. It's not just about fighting, it's about outsmarting. It's about using the environment to your advantage, knowing when to strike and when to disappear. This method has been a game changer in both historical and contemporary military contexts, allowing underdog forces to achieve surprising victories. The concept of guerrilla warfare isn't new. It has a rich history that spans across different cultures and conflicts. Let's take a step back and look at its origins. The term guerrilla itself comes from the Spanish word for little war. It was first used during the Peninsular War against Napoleon's forces, where Spanish partisans used hit-and-run tactics to harass and disrupt French troops. These tactics were highly effective, and the concept soon spread to other parts of the world. In the 20th century, we saw guerrilla warfare play a crucial role in many conflicts, from the Viet Cong in Vietnam to the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. Each of these groups used guerrilla tactics to significant effect, often turning the tide of the conflict in their favor. One of the most iconic examples of guerrilla warfare in action is the Vietnam War. The Viet Cong, a communist-led coalition of guerrilla fighters, used tactics like ambushes, booby traps, and raids to wear down the US military and its allies. Despite being outgunned and outmanned, they managed to control large areas of the countryside and eventually force the US to withdraw. The American Revolution is another prime example. American patriots used guerrilla tactics against British forces, launching surprise attacks and then melting away into the population. This approach allowed them to harass and disrupt British supply lines and communications, ultimately contributing to the British surrender at Yorktown. In both cases, the use of guerrilla warfare proved to be a turning point. It allowed a seemingly weaker force to challenge a much stronger enemy and achieve remarkable victories. But it's not just historical conflicts where we've seen guerrilla warfare in action. More recently, we've seen similar tactics used in places like Syria and Ukraine. The tactics used in guerrilla warfare can vary widely, but they often involve creating a sense of uncertainty and fear among the enemy. This can be achieved through a combination of military and psychological operations. For instance, spreading propaganda or using social media to influence public opinion can be just as effective as laying ambushes or conducting raids. However, guerrilla fighters face numerous challenges. One of the biggest is funding. Without a steady supply of money, it's hard to maintain operations, let alone launch effective attacks. Public support is another critical factor. Guerrilla fighters need the local population to provide them with food, shelter, and intelligence. Without this support, they're often forced to operate in isolation, making it much harder to achieve their objectives. Counterinsurgency efforts by established armies also pose a significant threat. Governments and conventional militaries have developed strategies to counter guerrilla tactics, including the use of drones, surveillance, and targeted killings. These efforts can be highly effective in disrupting and dismantling guerrilla movements. Despite these challenges, we've seen many successful resolutions or adaptations within guerrilla movements. Some have managed to evolve and continue their fight, often by forming alliances with other groups or adopting new tactics. The use of technology, for instance, has allowed some guerrilla fighters to coordinate more effectively and launch more sophisticated attacks. In some cases, guerrilla movements have even managed to transition into conventional forces, achieving a level of legitimacy and recognition. This can be a double-edged sword, as it often requires them to adopt more traditional military structures and tactics. However, it can also provide them with the resources and support they need to achieve their goals. The evolution of guerrilla warfare is a testament to its adaptability and effectiveness. As conventional militaries continue to develop new technologies and strategies, guerrilla fighters will likely respond by finding new ways to counter them. This ongoing cycle will ensure that guerrilla warfare remains a key component of modern military strategy. The significance of guerrilla warfare in shaping military tactics cannot be overstated. It has forced conventional militaries to rethink their approaches and adapt to a new kind of enemy. Its impact on global conflicts will continue to be felt for years to come. In conclusion, guerrilla warfare is more than just a set of tactics, it's a mindset. It's about challenging the status quo and finding new ways to achieve victory. If you're interested in learning more about military strategy and tactics, be sure to check out my related videos. I also recommend exploring additional resources on guerrilla tactics to deepen your understanding of this complex and fascinating topic.